Hey there guys, and welcome to another video. I'm Xterminator, and thank you for joining me today. And this is going to be another, I guess you could say tutorial, but also just another like top 5 in this case, quality of life features in Factorio, because I think there's a lot of these that people don't know about. Hopefully this can help you guys figure some out if you don't know about them, especially if you're new to the game, which I think a lot of you are, who have joined the channel and community lately. So first one is first, and this is a huge one. This is one that I think a lot of people do know, but a surprising amount of people don't know, and I can't blame you because it's not super well documented in the game. And this is the alternate or advanced view, and this is toggled by default on and off with the Alt key. Now this can be changed, as with basically all hotkeys, and you may want to because, of course, as you might imagine, every time you Alt-Tab, it's going to turn it on and off, and this maybe can be confusing to you. But what this does is this basically gives you, I would say, like 75% of the information that you see here and need in the game. And interestingly, I believe this is off by default, like when you first start the game. So I don't know why that is that way, but this is a quality of life thing that can be toggled on and off. So if I hit Alt, you can see that basically almost all the information disappears. All the recipes over the buildings, all that goes away. It doesn't delete the recipes or anything. It just gets rid of the view for me to actually see them. All the way the inserters are facing. If you know, if we have splitters and stuff and belts, like, doesn't show anything really useful there. And then if I go and turn this back on, look at everything else it shows. It shows every recipe over here. It shows what's in these pipes. It shows the way the inserters are facing. This is just extremely useful, and a lot of new players, I think, don't realize this because it's not really well documented, or, you know, you don't really get told about it very much in the game, at least right now. I believe they will be kind of fixing this with the new tips and tricks stuff in 1.1. And I will be doing a video about everything that's been confirmed that's coming in 1.1 here soon. So that's the first one. The second one is kind of a set of things, and this is the copy, paste, cut, and undo features in the game. And this is something that Factorio does absolutely fantastic, that a lot of games don't. A lot of games will have hotkeys, some being intuitive, and a lot of them not being super intuitive, or like that just don't correspond to other hotkeys outside of the game itself. Whereas Factorio actually kind of does the opposite. So, you know, in normal computer use, Control-C is your shortcut for copying, Control-V is your shortcut for pasting, Control-Z is an undo shortcut hotkey, just in everyday computer use, and Control-X is cut, and then Control-V to paste. And this translates exactly like that into Factorio. And this is absolutely fantastic. So if I hit Control-C, there are buttons for it too, but the fantastic thing is, since this is just, you know, carried over from how computer, you know, work is in general, if I hit Control-C, it brings this up, and I can just select, basically like a blueprint, something here. Okay, so I'm going to select this, and this is now copied this. Now there's a few cool things. If I just hit Control-V, it won't really do much because I've already have it selected, but if I get rid of this, if I hit Q to clear my cursor, this can be brought back up by hitting Control-V. So now to paste, I hit Control-V, and it brings it back up. The last one I had. Now you can actually have multiple of these stored. If I hold Shift while this is up and mouse wheel up or down, down in this case, it will scroll through ones that I have saved in my clipboard, basically, in my copy-paste clipboard. So this is the latest one. Now we can just place this down like normal, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hold Shift because there's a thing in the way. Now some bots may go and try to do this if there's some things we can build with this, but let's just say, oh no, by accident I didn't want it there. If I hit Control-Z, it undoes it completely. It'll just undo it. And this actually works with deconstruction orders as well. So if I like come over here and I like accidentally misclick, or I'm trying to deconstruct specific things and accidentally can deconstruct things that I don't want to deconstruct, I can hit Control-Z and it will cancel that order. And then the last part of this to show you, which is very similar to, of course, the copy feature, is just the cut feature. If I hit Control X, you can see it gives little scissors there. So what this will do is this will basically mark the thing for deconstruction and copy it. So it's marked that, and it's copied it as well. So if I get rid of that, hit Control V to bring that up, it works just as, you know, cut and paste does elsewhere in computers, which is fantastic. This is a huge quality of life thing. This just makes playing so much easier. And the next one is a similar copy paste thing, but with recipes themselves. So if I take some buildings here, let's just take assemblers. This works across assemblers and, you know, anything else that can be copied, mostly assemblers though. Inserter settings, requester chests, anything that has settings or recipes, this will work with them as well. Just to demonstrate, I'll go ahead and just place some requesters. Let's say I want these to be low density structures and I don't want to go in and set the recipe manually. If I shift right, oh, let's get closer, shift right click this building here and then hit shift left click, you can see it's actually highlighting green this one to indicate that this is my kind of copy. And then if I hold shift and left click, I can paste it. On top of this, you can drag or walk, either way works, across these and it will just do it in quick succession. You don't have to click individually. So I can just drag until I'm out of range, of course. And it will just do it, just change it completely. And I can overwrite this as well. So if I shift right click this red circuit machine, shift left click and run across this, it pastes it all across here. And I get a lot of questions sometimes about, you know, how are you selecting these recipes so fast? And that's how. Lastly, to show you for the requester chests, this is another example. I shift right click this one, shift left click across these, drag them, and it sets that for all of these. And this here, I hit Control Z to basically mark this for decon. That's the last thing I placed. This does not work with recipes, but I could decon these if I want. And there we go. So that's super nice. Again, it works for combinator settings. It works for inserter settings. Basically, anything that has a setting or a recipe, you can use this feature on. The next one is also very big, and this one is actually going to be improved even further, at least for power poles in 1.1. But this is the ability to drag and like basically drag and walk and place power poles and pipes without having to click them individually, right? So if we go ahead and turn these off and take some of this wood that I just gathered here, go ahead and make some power poles for ourselves. We'll start with pipes though, since we have some of those. So a lot of times, if you're newer to the game, if you don't know this, you may place your pipes like this. And if you're going a long distance, this can be very tiresome and tedious. However, you can click, and if you hold, I'm holding my left mouse button and I run, the game will automatically place these at their maximum placeable connectable distance. Just like that. And it will do this, just infinitely until it hits something. Now, if there is something in the way, it will goof up a bit, so you'll have to then remove the thing and kind of start again. And this works with ghost placing as well with robots. So if I hold shift, well, it doesn't quite work like that. That part is going to be fixed. I believe this works. This will work with power poles in 1.1. I think that's what I had in my head. I'm so excited for 1.1. Yeah, so ghost placing is a little wonky, but normal placing works. Same with power poles. So if I put this here, instead of manually trying to, you know, figure out where my distance is and all that, I can go on this one. I'm holding left click, and if I just hold left click and run, it'll place them at their maximum connectable distance all the way. You know, this works with small power poles, medium power poles, big power poles. You know, obviously different distances because they have different reaches. But this is just super nice for going long distances. This also does work kind of in a different way. Just a quick mention. If you do this like within a build, so if I do this in like a smelter, for example, it'll do two things. It'll kind of connect them at their maximum distance, but it will also simultaneously make sure that everything gets powered. So if you want to just, if you don't care what your power poles look like and your power lines look like, if you don't care about that and you don't want to tediously place these in builds, you can do that same trick. Just hold the left click with your power poles and just run down, and it will just make sure that everything is covered in power. Now, they may not be pretty. A lot of times it's not pretty, especially when you do a second row of it, because it won't match up usually. But if that isn't a problem for you, you can do this in a build, and we'll just make sure everything gets power and such like that. Okay, the last one. This is the last big one. There is kind of a bonus one. I suppose it's not. It's more so than a bonus, but I mean, there's so many. I can't cover all of them. The next one is the Q, the eyedropper, or the picker tool eyedropper. I suppose that's usually for colors, but the picker tool is default Q, the Q button. And what this does is this basically just is it's a picker tool. So if I hit Q over anything, building, power pole, roboport, laser turret, it basically just picks a copy of whatever I hit the hotkey over, and then it puts it into my cursor. Whether I have the item or not, it'll do a ghost if I don't. And this is super nice. So you do have your hotbar here, which you can set up, and either in conjunction with or instead of, you can use this picker tool, the Q key. Because I could have assemblers and stuff all on my hotbar, or if I'm working in an area where there are some, I can just boom, hit this. Okay, we place these. Boom, I want some pipes. Do those, I want some power poles here. Well, or inserters in this case, because I misclicked. So you have to be a little careful there, but, power poles. And this will just work. This also works when you're not in range. This is one really nice thing about it. Whereas, like, the copy-paste tool, for the recipes doesn't work out of range, this will. Heck, I can go on my map view. I can go all the way over to this other base and scroll in, and I can do it here. And it will pick something I'm doing, and then it will translate even once I'm out of the map view. So this, the Q hotkey kind of has two different functions, because it clears your cursor when there's something in it, but if there's nothing in it, it will, and you're mousing over something, it will pick whatever that is. Does not work on vehicles, obviously, but, it works very well. It's very useful. And then the bonus one, this is one that was added in 1.0. This one is really good. But this is the ability to build blueprints from the map. And the reason I kind of have this as a bonus, not a full one, is because I've covered this in several other videos that I've released after 1.0 came out. So previously to the update where this was a thing, you could build blueprints if you go in, you had radar coverage, and you zoom in. So you could always build, well, not always, but for a very long time, you've been able to build blueprints by zooming in, like in this view, in the world view. But you can never build them like from the actual map view, from this view. However, you can now that 1.0 is out. And you'll see here, this is a rail, and it shows me what I'm going to build. And then it will let me actually build this through this view as long as I have radar coverage. If I don't have radar coverage, it won't work. So if I can't do it out here, it turns red, I don't have coverage. Now, one quick tip and trick with this one, actually, that was shown on Reddit recently, is if you use artillery, if you shoot artillery out, the shell reveals the map as it goes, and it keeps it revealed for a few seconds after it passes through. So you could actually use this, mostly useful for rails, shoot an artillery, and as it's revealing the map, you could build the rails out in that revealed area if you are quick enough before it, becomes fog of war again a few seconds after the shell has passed through it. But that's a quick tip there. But yeah, so if I just, I'm holding shift because there's like trees and stuff in the way. I just place this here. It will place it down. It will place it in the map view. And this works also very well with the align to grid thing with rails specifically, because then you can just place across. It's very, very nice here. So I could just do this, and it does lag a little bit, especially on the bigger blueprints. But this is super helpful on the bigger blueprints, because a lot of times with huge blueprints, in this view, you can't actually see the entire blueprint if it's a very big one, right? Because you're limited to this screen. But if you do this, the blueprint could be, this big, and you can actually see where the edges are going to be and what it's going to hit in the orientation correctly and all that stuff. So it's very, very nice. That's just a bonus one. We already did our 5. But there we go, guys. That is, in my opinion, 5 of the top quality of life features and tools in Factorio. Hopefully you learned something here. If you have anything to add, I mean, there are many more in addition to this, of course, but if you have maybe part of one of these that I forgot or anything like that, leave them down in the comments. I hope you did find this helpful. If you did, a like is much appreciated so other people can find this and hopefully, you know, gain some information from it as well. And if you're new to the channel, welcome, and you can subscribe if you aren't already to keep up with all the content I'm putting out. If you're new to the game, I hope you're having a fantastic time and the videos are helpful. And if you have any questions, thoughts, leave them below. But until next time, guys, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.